Okay, in this video, I'd like to talk about manifestation and what it means to me. And I guess what I've figured out is the goal of it for me. Over the last few years, I have watched a lot of content about manifestation and have thought about it a lot and kind of come to a bit of an understanding of how it works. And, the quantum nature of it, where you, through intention, you can change the probabilities of how things emerge in the future. And, it gets me to thinking, well, why am I so interested in it? And, the first exposure that I had to the topic was through The Secret. And the content that I read for that was all about manifesting wealth. And my life has had periods where I have been relatively wealthy and periods where I have been relatively poor. My wealth has come in the classical way by having a career in medicine and working very, very hard. And then also some luck. Basically, things that are not so good for society at large are good for me, right? Like the pandemic. Not so good for society, but I became wealthy. And so through all that work and stress, I also ran into burnout. So almost a year ago now, I made the decision to stop and switch to the slow life. And, that helped. I've healed so much in that last year. But then I spent my money, and I was pretty concerned 2 months ago about being able to continue in the slow life. And, I worked to get a job. All the while, however, I had been doing these affirmations and meditations, some of which were inspired by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and my goal was to manifest wealth again without having to return to a 9-to-5 job. And, in that book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, I guess you could say wisdom that I received from that was that, you do your meditations, you do the spiritual and quantum work, and it will come in the form of a surprise. Well, that is exactly what happened. When the bank account was down to zip and I was living off of cash reserves, some cash in a shoebox, I looked at my mail, and there were some envelopes that would arrive from this investment company. I had been investing a little bit. I figured, there might be a month's worth of income in there, so I figured, I better look at it. And then I had to jump through a bunch of hoops and establish an account and with an online account so that I could look up what was in there. And that was a pain in the ass, and I had to put some willpower into making it happen. And once I gained access to what was in there, that was the surprise. The accounts had done much better than I had ever expected them to. And now I have income for at least the next year, plus an account that is still in there growing, with good potential to provide income indefinitely. And then at the same time, all of my attempts to get this job going, I wouldn't say they've failed, but barrier after barrier after barrier built on bureaucracy and impersonal business systems just threw up all these barriers to going back to a 9-to-5 type life. And I guess what may have turned the tide in all that is that I kind of realized what my goal is in manifesting. And I've spoken about this in at least one prior video. What I'm really looking for is the flow state, right? I mean, manifesting wealth, the only reason I want to do that is so that I can live in the flow state. And I've had tastes of the flow state over the last year. I would say that at the moment I am enjoying a sort of flow state. And so I've done it. Here I am, more or less in the flow state. I have time freedom right now. And I'm spending that time building my theory and working on the things I'm passionate about. And, that project video I had mentioned in a previous video about waves and frequencies and the physics, the scientific nature of it, the mathematical nature of it, and the spiritual nature of it. Yes, I'm working on that. I mean, to really understand it, I am taking a course on Fourier analysis, which is the mathematical study of waves and periodic phenomena. It's a 30-hour course. I have completed 19 of those 30 hours. And one benefit I've received from that course is a much deeper understanding of quantum field theory, because path integrals, it would seem, depend substantially on Fourier analysis and synthesis. in order to understand the particle and wave duality and ultimately the interactions that occur in the quantum field. So, for me, the manifestation of wealth is simply a means to an end. What I'm really looking for, and in many ways have found, is the flow state. To be able to devote the time that I would like to devote to my studies, to thought, to meditation, to receive the wisdom of the universe that in a lot of ways I think is present in every cubic millimeter of space with the time dimension added on. That's the real goal. Yeah. I guess I could, at some point, speak about how I manifested this. It's not a cut and dried procedure. I learned a lot from Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'll tell you that. But yeah, there were differences, and I don't know, maybe I should offer a course, and charge money for it, and maybe that would help me to continue to live the slow life. But that's what it would be. It would be a means to an end, that end being time freedom and freedom to practice philosophy. Okay. Well, thank you for tuning into this. Please like the video if you found benefit from it, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. And I will see you in further videos.